you've had results or your clients have had results, but your message is still not on point, you're missing something that's super simple. You are not utilizing and using the amazing power of testimonials. And those testimonials are the receipts that your future clients are desperately waiting for you to share. Before we get started, my name is Lisbeth Graham, and I am a messaging and sales strategist for mission-led service-based business owners. And since 2023, I have helped over a dozen people learn how to sell confidently inside of the DMs without a script. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and make sure that you turn on the notification bell in order to get notified when a brand new video comes out every week. I signed 12 clients in a year, not because of any type of script or any type of woo-woo strategy, but the truth was I used all the receipts that I could possibly have in order to start calling in my dream clients. I shared the wins of the people I was working with in the past that helped me evolve into someone who knew what she was talking about. And today I'm going to talk to you about the importance of having those receipts inside of your message. This is what we are going to do in order to take them from a simple post into your DMs. Number one, we're going to talk about the results that you have. You have to share the results that you've gotten. I know it's such a tiny little part that you're like, that can't be it. But the truth is, people want to see themselves in those ones. They want to see that you can actually give them the results that they desperately want. You are the person and you are the answer to their prayer. But if you're not showcasing how you've helped someone and what type of results you've gotten them, there's no way that someone could relate to you in their content. And yes, of course, I know having it in your website is super important, but I'll tell you something that I'm learning and I've learned. Not a lot of people go to your website first. They will go to your social media first, unless they found you through a blog. Now, that's a whole different conversation for another day, but we're talking about your content inside of your message and what your content needs to do. Your content needs to sell for you, but if you're not showing that little tiny piece that you're probably thinking is too super small, that one little piece is the thing that is going to drive them first into a conversation with you, which is step number two. Through your message, step number two works really well in order to get them in inside of the DMs. And that is using the exact words that people used when they decided to buy from you. Now, I want you to think back to that client who you had been working with and you knew you can help them. So you continue to follow up because, hello, fortune is in the follow-up, and you continue to talk to them, right? I want you to think about what made them say yes. What was the thing that was like, bing, I need to work with Liz. I need to work with Michelle. I need to work with Monique. I need to work with Sarah. I need to work with blah, da, 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 da. I need to work with all these people, right? I need to work with this girl. And what was the thing that made them say that? That is what you're going to use in your content when you're talking about the results. I'll give you a perfect example. When I had my first of 12 clients that came in a year, the first one, it was because she was not getting the clients. She was one of my clients who is now getting consistent work, and she's like making double her income from the year before. But the thing is that when she came to me, she just was very unclear if she should continue doing the social media managing stuff or if she should keep doing the graphic design, if she should do Canva. She was just all over the place. The words that really got her was she needed a roadmap. She needed direction. She needed clarity. So what did I do in my message when I was talking about results is I said, if you're lacking clarity on what to do next, this is for you. Do you understand that I use the exact words that she and I talked about in the DMs? And that's what you need to do. You need to tell people if you are unclear, if you don't know, if you're having a hard time with creating a system, you have to use those words for them, because that's basically you calling them and kind of I like to say this in my Spark the Conversation challenge, that you want to be like a fly in the wall. And this is where I'm going to do my plug. If you have not done my Spark the Conversation challenge, you need to do that, because that is where you're going to start getting the verbiage that your audience is using, and you're going to understand who it is that your target audience truly is. If you don't know who they are, your messaging is going to be all over the place. And a vague message is going to call vague buyers. So if you want that, make sure that you go down to the description and you get the link to get started. It is over on Circle for 5 days, 20 minutes a day. And by the end, you're going to have your own copy mining blueprint that you can use for content, sales pages, anything where you need to understand and get a good message started for your business. Now, you have to understand the words that your people are saying, and the challenge teaches you that and shows you that. So you need to use all of the results in your message that you've gotten, especially the ones where people said yes. Step number 3, I'm going to give you a template that I want you to start using for you to think if you are stuck. Okay. If you can confidently fill out this template, you're basically on the right track. And all we need to do is kind of tweak and get your message a little more clear. Here it goes. If you're watching the YouTube, I'm looking at it because it's on my notes. But if you're listening to this in the podcast, here it goes. I help who? Who do you help? Insert who you help. And please, for the love of everything, do not be vague. I want you to be very specific. Overwhelmed moms, struggling entrepreneurs, financially unstable, blah, da, 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 da. Like for me, I help service-based business owners struggling to get consistent clients. Do you know how clear that is? Normally on my stuff, I say I help mission-led service-based business owners and I go on a long spiel. But if I'm just filling this out, I'm going to just say I help service-based business owners struggling to land consistent clients. That's it. It says 1, who they are. It says 2, what they're struggling with, right? And that's what you want. So I help who? Who do you help? Go from before and after. Go from no clients to consistent clients, no sales to consistent sales, before and after. This is just for your results. Okay. This is just for the result piece. We're not at the whole big picture of the messaging. That's why I said, I usually will say, I help mission-led service-based business owners land consistent clients through the DMs and confidently sell with a message, blah, 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 blah. I always learn. I'm still refining that and constantly trying to find like the perfect flow for it. But such is life. So I help. Who do you help? I help busy moms who lack systems, things like that. I help moms who work from home with littles, have a routine, stuff like that. Like you're getting very specific with that. And so the next one is you're going to go from before and after. The before is from overwhelmed to clear, from overwhelmed to stress-free, from anxious to clear, whatever, before and after. By how? How do you help them? You have to get very specific, right? So mine go from, struggling to get clients to consistent clients in the DMs through clarifying their message, calling in the right people, gaining confidence in the DMs. The list can go on and on for me. But what does that how look like for you? What does that entail? So the template again goes, I help who go from before to after by how. So I want you to fill that out and really think about it. And if you're not really clear about that, make sure you jump on my challenge because that's going to help you really get clear on that. And so here's an example that is really on brand for me is like, I help service-based providers go from my DMs are quiet to confident conversations and consistent clients by using market research and simple messaging that brings in leads. That's one that is like very clear, cut dry. If you read that, you'd be like, that's me or that's not me. I'm not here to please everyone. That's something you got to really think about. I'm not here to please everyone. And so step 4 is we're going to open the DMs. Now, this is my favorite thing to do with DMs, right? So let's say I do the first 3 messages, the first 3, stories, and somebody replies or engages in it. I'm going to message them and ask them like what they're struggling with and just to kind of understand them. And my goal is just understanding. If I get a client, cool. But if they're like not caring for that, that's fine. I just want understanding of my audience. And so I'm going to just ask them like, hey, I saw that you said like your DMs are kind of quiet. And would you mind if I ask you like a question? And it's usually a target audience, like a market research question. And I'll ask like, why do you think that's it? Like, what do you think's missing for you in your content that your DMs are like quiet? No one's responding. No one's engaging. And I want to know, I want to find out. And so that could lead to a client, that could lead to a conversation, or that could lead to a connection. And I always say that you're going to walk away with a client, connection, or just a conversation. Okay. And that's okay because not everybody is meant to be your client. And so we're going to ask them, we're going to ask a question of why they're struggling with what, like, or hey, like, especially if they're in threads. And I taught this last week. If they're in threads and you're trying to bring them over to the DMs, you can simply just message them like, hey, I saw over on threads that you were struggling with da 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 da. I'd love to help you. I would just love to help you. Can I ask you like a question to see if like maybe I can help you get the answer? Be genuine. That's all it is. And you can just ask like a simple question that engages conversation. The goal of a DM is never to sell. The goal of a DM is to start a conversation. I'm going to say it again. The goal of the DM is not to sell. The goal of the DM is to start a conversation. Kind of write that down on a sticky note, your planner, somewhere where you see it every day. So when you step into a conversation with DMs, you're not awkward because you're just starting a conversation. So how are we going to turn these results into an actual message? Now, when you want to talk about your results, you really want to have a strong hook. Something like, for me, it would be signed 12 clients in a year. Here's what I did. Or you could say, I helped an overwhelmed mom go from confused with routines to a strategic system that works while she's with her babies. Something like that. You're calling it, because you got to use the verbiage your people say. Like for me, it could be something like, my clients no longer need to purchase a whole bunch of courses. This is what they're doing instead, right? My clients go from being close to burned out to booked out, something like that. You know, it's not true for everyone, but I could still say it because two of my clients are, so I could still say it. So you really got to think about what results you've gotten. Like my client struggled with meal portions or portion control. And in 6 weeks, she lost. And in 6 weeks, she viewed food differently. You want to call with what they're saying. Like if someone tells you, like, I struggle with consistency with working out and you're a fitness pro, you could easily just say, my client struggled with consistency in working out. And after 6 weeks, she was working out 3 to 4 times a day. This is what we did. That is a hook. That is like, whoa, what did you do? Because I want to lose weight and I want to be consistent. You know, most people want that. And then after your hook, you want to tell them a story. Like when client came to me, she was a social media manager. But after just one conversation, we realized that her true calling was in automations and systems, where she helped a past client of hers make $100K in sales with her systems. What we did was blah, 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 and then talk about like what you did, like tell them the before, what you did in the middle, and then the after. And that is a story that brings people with results. Like I feel like when it comes to storytelling, case studies, testimonials, selling your offer, things like that, relatability, like what makes you different, why someone should work with you, you have to tell it in a story. People love a good story. People love a good before and after. And so your results need to showcase that. And then when you have your call to action, have that call to action be like, you can have them message you if they're struggling, tapping a link, you know, going to link in bio, saying a word, whatever you feel comfortable. But remember, the goal of every DM is to start a conversation. So if they do reply a word and they want to know, this is where people like, this is where I teach people, like, please, for the love of God, don't do this. This is where if someone tells you, like, if you say DM like link or reply link, you know, whatever, or comment link, and someone comments that, and it's like literally like, oh my God, you're interested in my offer. Let me tell you everything. And it's like a whole like giant CVS receipt worth. No one's going to read that. And so I always say when someone is interested, cool. Like, hey Sue, thanks for replying. I'm so excited for us to get connected. Can I ask you a couple of questions to see if this would be a good fit for you? And that's it. Start the conversation that way. And that's like the key for you to slowly start asking them like questions about their business, like what have they tried? What are they trying? What are they going to do moving forward? Just to understand them. And so you do the hook in your content. You tell the story before and after. You have a DM, like you have a call to action for them to connect to you. You're in the DMs and you ask them questions. You see how all that just rolls together? And it's when you understand the simplicity of not the simplicity, but when you understand the power of your message to call your people, it's like the biggest aha thing you're going to have. Like you're like, I can't believe the big piece I was missing in my foundation was my message, because that is what changed for me and transformed my whole business, was understanding the power of a message and the power of calling your audience. Now, I give you homework every single week. And so today, the homework I'm going to give you is in 3 parts. 1, I want you to really think about that message, that, you know, who you help, how, what's the before and after, and the how. I want you to really work on that. And if it is not clear, come back here, click the link, and do the challenge, because I promise you it is the missing piece to giving you the confidence to really start selling in the DMs. Number 2, I want you to think about the DM hooks that you can use, the hooks that you can use in your content. But remember, those hooks have to be their words that they said. Like, take from the language of what your past clients have said, or maybe like a current client has said, take from that and put that in the hook. Like if they've told you overwhelmed, confused, anxious, use all of those words inside of your content. And the last one is open up with some kind of question in the DM. And I want you to ask one, like have just one question with somebody, because that's going to give you slowly the confidence to start building connections without feeling pressure to have to sell to somebody. And once you've taken or you've done already the challenge, I'm going to encourage you to step into the Phoenix membership, because inside of the Phoenix experience, I'm really going to help you tighten your message, and I'm going to help you really figure out how to put all those testimonials together so you can start really calling out and sharing the results you've given to people with confidence, so you can start turning that confidence into DMs and start getting those clients. So make sure that you look at the description below to see how we can work together inside of the Phoenix Experience membership. And next week, I'm going to show you what is the one thing that you need in your business, and that is not more content. So make sure you're watching next week. And if you need help really understanding how to market research, click this video and I'm going to share with you how to do your market research and what exactly to do. So I'll see you next week.